Good morning and a huge, warm welcome to Carnation Crafts. We are live in the Carnation Crafts studio and you have me and Miss Tiztowels this morning, and we have just eaten a very hearty breakfast, so we're in good humours. It's wonderful to have you here. We are with the Wonderful World collection, which was launched yesterday. There's not a huge amount of stock left, just to let you all know. But if you're coming in and you'd like to get hold of it, you can do so on the Carnation Crafts website, which is www.carnationcrafts.co.uk. You need to look for the code 230701, and that will take you straight to the full bundle, and that is £71.99 if you use the code CCWW10. That's Charlie, Charlie, Whiskey, Whiskey, 10, all in uppercase, and that will get you 10% off the collection, which is amazing. It's a really, really good deal. Free UK P&P because it's over the £50 mark, which is also epic. Oh, hello, other people. There's the people. Hi, hi. They're saying hello to you as well, Miss Taz.
Good morning.
She says good morning. So yes, you need to get. I was doing so well with all the professional speaking, and then the squirrels came. But you can go to the Carnation website and grab the bundle. There isn't much left. And the same goes for the Skyline Card Shape 2, which is an additional die that you can get that's amazing. And actually, that's what I'm going to demo a little bit with this morning. The Skyline Card Shape is 230706 on the Carnation website, and that's got a show price of £27.99, £2.95 UK P&P if you buy it on its own without the rest of the bundle, because it's under the £50 price mark. And last but not least is those gorgeous perfect papers, and this selection is so pretty, really good for your colours, for the sky and for the grounding. So you've got your greens, your blues and your creams there, so really good addition to have to be evocative of skylines, grounding devices and open grass areas, which is kind of what this collection comes into. So it's all very amazing. Hello. Ooh, waiting for my delivery today. Lots of you are going to get this today. That's really exciting. I'm guessing some of you, if you've got an early postman, might already have it. Oh, you got sorted, Savvy Crafter. I'm happy for you. I knew they'd sort it. They're very good. Yeah, everyone, I think you're all going to get it today. That's really exciting, right? Because it means you get to play with it straight away. Now, I was going to... Ooh, Linda's got it. Just answered my door to the postie with my order, now to print it off. Yeah, you should be able to get your vignettes today. Go onto the website and they should be on there. I think they'll be on there now. Yeah, Diane's got hers as well. That's incredible, isn't it? Their customer service is pretty awesome, right? That you can order it yesterday and it's in your door today. I think that's pretty awesome. Linda sat in my office allegedly working. We're all allegedly working. Right, I was going to do the a final demo on the main card shape. And what I've decided to do, and I hope it's all right with you guys, is actually opt out of that. Simply because if I do another full demo of that, you're not actually getting much demo time with anything else. And the one that was aired yesterday, pretty much I would say the first one at 9 o'clock is going to be the fullest demo. I can't do it any more than that. Like, that's going to be the fullest demo, and you can go back and watch that at any time, and it's full step by step, and it was redone then at 1 o'clock. So I think what I'd like to do today is work with the Skyline card shape a little bit and work with some other stuff, so you're getting a different flavour. Otherwise I feel like I'm hemming you into just that one card shape, and there's so much more to do with this collection than just that. So I hope that's okay with you guys. If you decide you would like that demo, then just comment and I can do that at the 12 o'clock show. So it's up to you guys. I just thought it might be nicer to have a bit more diversity. So let's have a quick look at the boards. What are you getting today? What are you getting if you ordered it yesterday? Well, this is that incredible card shape with that little bit of magic that comes through when we pull this, so it all opens out. It's incredibly simple to make, really, really easy to make. But it's one of those that it does need that step by step. Shirley Taylor is saying, hi Carla, I just checked and I don't think the vignettes are up yet, hoping the postie will come later today. If I am thinking the way I'm thinking, I think Carnation might wait until the shows are done to put the vignettes on so that anyone buying can get it without the website slowing down. I think that'll be their mindset, but I haven't spoken to them this morning, but I'm fairly sure. So the elements that you're getting in this main card shape are just incredible, and don't think of it as just being this, although that is incredible, right? Look at that magic. But it isn't just that. It can be so many more things. It can be box frames. It's a beautiful card shape. If you take away sort of that panel and just use that as a card shape, it's so pretty. And then obviously you wouldn't use the mechanism inside it, and you wouldn't use the two archways. You would just use it as it is, and it's beautiful. Imagine using that with tiny lights on the inside of that glowing with a Christmas scene. That was Miss Taz, not me. It's normally me, but I'm going to blame Miss Taz. So all of your elements there, plus your beautiful floral corners, and what you can't see clearly, you've got the daisies here, which are your decoupage elements, and they're just sitting here decoupaged up. So you really play with that and bring it all together and build. Karen Vincent says, agree with you, Carla, see something different. I think so too. I mean, I can't explain it any more than I did yesterday. And I just think it's gonna be another full show. So I'd rather do something that gives you guys a different view, and I think that's why you're watching, right? So you get to see the things. So let's play it that way. Then we have got your gorgeous, gorgeous planes, trains and automobiles, which is just wonderful. This bus is so vibrant, just really beautiful colours. You've got your hot air balloon, you've got your car. Remember, that comes in 3 colourways. So you've got the red car, there is a green car, and there is also a yellow car as well. So you get all 3 of those colourways when you get your vignettes. You've got your motorbike, you've got your steam train, you've got your train carriage, and you've got your aeroplane. All beautifully done, I have to say. Just the detailing that comes through. If you look at the wheels on the train carriage here, the detail is incredible. They really go in, don't they? It's just ace. Susan Kempster, hi Carla, just received mine this morning. Wow, what brilliant and fast delivery. Susan, I think you were new with us yesterday, is that correct? I'm pretty sure, if my memory serves me right, I have a terrible memory, but if that's the case, I'm so pleased that your experience has been so good. Just remember that that's pretty much always the experience we get with Carnation, and I'm so pleased you've had a taste of it, because it is really awesome. We've got here it's like park life, isn't it? You've got your little bench, which I love, again with the beautiful little love heart sitting in it. Remember, Nick puts Easter eggs throughout the collections, and often that will be a love heart. So you can go and find in your collections, there's often a little love heart hidden somewhere, and there it sits there. Then you've got your cat, you've got your dog, you've got your tennis ball, your frisbee. Then you've got your 2 sort of bush lines. Now this one, as I did yesterday, it looks really beautiful if you sit it on top of 2 of these. So those as the background, this sitting forward with some height, really gorgeous. And then we have got your tree line, which is just something you use and you use and you use, because it's got that really great, lovely long line to it. Finally, you've got your 2 cyclists. These have got their own mats and layers, which means you can make a card just out of them. So you've got the male and you've got the female here. I think, again, the detailing where you've got the water bottle, the flowers in the basket, just stunning, right? Really, really awesome. Rachel McCourt is saying, please, Nick, can we have a horse and a rider? I'm sure he's listening, so he will add it to the list. It's never ending, isn't it, that we can think of all the things that Nick can give us, because, as I've said to you so many times, it's the elemental factor of Carnation. So if you were to say, I think somebody had said the other day, is there a fisherman and we can go to water's edge? You know, is there a tomato plant? Actually, yes, there is in... Is it Grace and Calm? No, not Grace and Calm. Oh, I'm going to forget the names. But there is all of the things. We have this kind of limitless set of tools to make cards for everything. Vignettes, I think they'll wait for the vignettes, I will say. Terry, what kind of printer do I need to use from Christmas Valley in Oregon? Hey, Terry, let me... bend your ear for 2 seconds. It doesn't matter what printer you use, but there is a very distinct difference between using a laser printer and an inkjet printer. A laser printer is in and of itself its own color system, and they work differently, and so you're going to get truer colors on a laser printer naturally. However, if you use an inkjet printer, and it can be any, it doesn't have to be an expensive one, but if you use that with Pro Print paper, it will be as true as it can possibly get. And anyone who's watching who uses Pro Print will tell you the same thing. The difference between the two is incredible. So you can use, I mean, obviously you're in the US, but you can use a printer that's a, you know, a $50 printer, and it will work just as beautifully if you use in Pro Print. It doesn't matter what printer you use, it's the paper you use that makes the difference. So I hope that helps. A child cycling would be a great add-on. There's so many, it just could go on and on and on, couldn't it? Emma, hi Carla, from Emma and Shelley. Could we please get penguins at all? If there's any ideas going, cute. I love penguins. Penguins are cute.
I'm going to add to that. Do you know what would be really cute?
Yes.
You know, you get the little kind of add-ons to bikes, like a little.
Oh, where
box on
parents.
wheels.
Oh, yeah, like
And then you could put like a kid in there.
like a
with
sidecar.
Almost, but at the back.
Yes.
And then you can like wheel your dog, your pets around. Or
Cute.
Yeah.
I want a sidecar to go with a motorbike, like Wallace and Gromit. And also, if we're doing penguins, I really hope they do a little fat baby one. That would be really cute. The HP 4520 is only 49 at Wally World with instant ink. Brilliant. Okay, so a lot of add-on packs coming. Yeah, absolutely. Let's get going with Wonderful World. Now, what I want to do, I'm just going to remind you of the number, by the way, 230701. I always forget I've got two heads on when David B is not here, so I'm supposed to present and demo at the same time, and I get waylaid, so I apologise to Carnation. That's 230701. It's the show price of $79.99 today. However, using the code Charlie Whiskey 10 will give you a 10% discount, and that takes it down to $71.99. Right, that's the housekeeping taken care of for a moment. What I want to do today is work with the Skyline die, and the reason that I want to do that is because it has got so many uses to it, and we did have a demo with it yesterday, but I want to show it in a couple of different ways today. So we've got obviously your two outside dies, which are your mats and layers. Don't have to use them, but I would advise you to, but I'm going to show you how to demo it without them today as well. I think it's a good idea to have the strength behind the card. It just makes it stand up better, doesn't it? Let's face it, you can, you know, I can sit here all day and tell you don't use it, but it's going to stand up better if you do use your mats and layers. The three dies that come in this is so blooming clever. So the way it works is when I open this and I take this one from here, there's also then another one from the inside. And hold on, if I remove this from the packaging so you can see exactly what you get when you get home. She says, always bend your card, don't bend the die. Do as I say, not as I do. There we go. Right, so the three dies that you've got here. Now, it looks weird, doesn't it, because of the hole, because we don't normally see dies like this, and that's unusual. But the way it works is this die is just going to sit on top of your vignette here. So none of this has got cut detail in it because it's a big hole in the middle here. But it's because it's then hidden by this one that sits in front of it, and that is this vignette. And this doesn't have cut lines here because this gets hidden by the little mini one on the inside, which is this one. So the three together. So when you take this out of the packet, that's what you're getting, just so you understand it when you get home and you can see how it works. Now, the way I'm going to work with it today, we did one yesterday that was on foam tape. I'm going to do the first demo today in true to form, as in working with the tabs, how it was designed to be. And then I'm going to do an easel card with it. And so you're getting to see it in variants, because I think knowing the different ways we can use it and how we can achieve that is a really beautiful thing when we get the die home. And sometimes it's a bit of like a springboard for us to get the brain cells working. Not that I have many, but it gets it going. So the first one I'm going to do is just without a card base. I'm just going to show you the sticking points on the tabs. Chuck a few vignettes in there so we can see it, and then I'm going to change that over and I'm going to do roughly a similar card, but I'm going to do it as an easel. Keep your bags, you need them for your other card shape. So here are my 3 points. Have I already stopped this? Look. Right, so, do you know, sometimes I'm more organised than I think. All you're doing is the 2 tabs that are here, can you see? All I'm doing is sticking them together, nothing else. That's it. And the same on this side. It's just stuck together. And because it's got the little sort of score line on the edge of those tabs, it just folds over. Now what that means is, as a card shape for you at home, when it sits, you've got your Z fold. So do you need to use the mat and layer behind it? No, absolutely not, it stands. However, if you're going to do that, honestly, you're going to need to have the strongest pro print you have in order to get it to do that. Because if you go in with a 120 and it's a single-sided vignette, there's no mirrored vignette on it. First of all, you kind of, if you're going to make this, you're going to kind of need the mirrored vignette, just saying. But if you're going to do it as single-sided 120, it's just going to fall over. You've got to give it enough stability. But because we've got the mechanism as such, which allows it to sit in that Z and hold itself up, if you're doing it on a 120 as a mirrored vignette, so you've got it as a 240 when it comes out, which is the strongest you're going to get paper-wise on Pro Print, it's fine. And I've got a fan on next to me and it's not wafting over, so it's fine. It's got that support that it needs. But would I advise you to put it on a card stand? Yeah, I think I would. I just for the support. But it's got to be what you feel like you want to do with it. So I wouldn't dictate to anybody. But that's just where I would go. Now, we've got really beautiful elements here, and we can start to really play it because not only do we have the fronts, but we also have the backs to play with as well. Savvy Crafter, love the Pro Print, way better than anything the US has. I've heard that a lot about Carnation's Pro Print. I'm going to be totally straight with you. I've never used anybody else's Pro Print. I've only ever used Carnation's, and I know that's amazing. But lots of people will say that of all the ones that they've used, that, you know, Carnation's is the best. So I hope that's true. Right, so we have got your elements here. Now, because we've got the front and the back to work with, I can put vignettes inside here, but I can also put them here. So we create a full town almost. And I love that so much. It's really nice to have all of these options. So for instance, I can put the little bus here, have its little bottom sticking out, and I can hide it behind the house, and you've got the element that comes forward. Now for me personally, the bus is too big to do that. If you had a double-decker bus that was bigger than a 3-story building, I think I would be in a very scared stage of my life. So I think what I would do with that more is hide it behind this one, so it's your surprise as you open up. Leave the little edge coming out because it gives you that beautiful pop of colour, which is so pretty, but it also allows for that sort of, it's a sneak peek, isn't it? We know it's a bus coming, but then can you remember the joy when you were young of pop-up books? You knew something was going to happen when you pulled the tab or you opened the page, and that kind of, we all still have that as adults, that curiosity. And that's what this card gives us when you have those little poke outs that come, that gorgeous little element of, ooh, what's inside here? It tells the card recipient to open it. The little sneak says, open me. And that's a really lovely thing to have. And that's why the bus is so important for this piece, because it's got that gorgeous element to it. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to stick the bus absolutely here. Now, I'm not working with anything other than wet glue on this one, because if I work with pin flare and I start to shape out and pull in, oh, this glue, honestly, the heat. If I start to do that, then I'm going to struggle to close the card. Now, especially important, if you're going to do it and you're not going to use a card base, you're going to do it this way. If you use pin flare, and I love pin flare, you've got to allow for the fact, if I shape this bus out and it was domed, I've got to allow the fact that that pin flare, which is going to dry like cement, when I close this, it's going to affect this piece of paper because it's going to dome in the shape of the bus automatically. And so I would avoid pin flare if you're working with the card base this way. Obviously, I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I just would avoid it because I think I don't want it to damage or manipulate the paper that I'm not working with, if that makes sense. So let's go in here. So I'm just going to put tiny amounts of glue in. I don't want much. Now I do know that the front of my bus is going to poke out of the card, so I don't want glue on that piece, but I am going to make sure I've got plenty there. I'm also going to make sure I've got plenty on the wheel bases here. So when I say plenty, obviously my definition of plenty of glue is very different to other people's, but that is plenty. I don't need more than that. Any more than that is basically me allowing that moisture to hit the paper, and that's going to cause a wave, and I don't want that to happen. So I know I've had so many people say to me, you don't use enough glue, and I get it. But having been a paper sculptor and a quiller for so many years, I know that the tiniest amount of glue takes you the furthest place. So I get where all the shouty comments come from a lot of the time, but I'm not going to change. I love using tiny amounts of glue. So I'm going to come in with these tree lines now. Now, one of the things I could have done is tucked this. I'm not obviously going, well, I could, but it's there. So because what I would say about this is, if you're going to do this, make sure that the trunks don't show too much, because if you get to the point where you can see that grass line at the bottom, what you're saying is the trees are riding on top of the bus, as if the bus has stolen the trees and is doing a runner with them. So we need to tuck them so that you don't have that element coming through. And we'll leave that there for now, and then I'll see how I feel. But actually I quite like it for down here, so I'm creating that other scene. So I can put more trees here and allow that to create that town scene. It's up to, you know, you guys how you want to play with it. There's just so many elements in this that are so beautiful and so pretty. I think what I would like to do with it though is absolutely close that down, just leave the bus and those trees, and look how pretty that is with those trees coming over the top of that line as well, to then be opening it up and having that element. Super cute. So if I pull this here, I've got the tree and I've cut it down slightly. I'm going to have that at the bottom of the card unless I cover it, because it's my grounding device. So if I have it here, it doesn't make sense unless I'm going to use one of the roadway vignettes, but I can cover it. So if I want to have the trees a little higher, we have techniques that allow us to do that. So I can put these bush lines in front of it, which would allow me to kind of disperse it. And what happens with that, even with just one bush, if I put this at the front down here, what happens is, where we go from having a floating tree in midair that makes absolutely no sense, if I then put that on top of it, I change the perspective. Suddenly the trees are further back, and it makes sense along that line that possibly I've got a road in between. I'm changing it. Now for that, I would potentially want to raise it slightly, but I would use a 1mm foam tape maybe. You wouldn't have to do much with it to give it that raise. But I hope that makes sense, that we can change the perspective. You'll need a grounding device. If you want the trees to be higher, so they're poking well and truly over there, you'll need to ground it down here with that bush line to give it the proffering of a road behind. That would be my advice. And that's what we'll do, just to give it that bit of height, because I like it poking out of the top. So I'm just going to place onto there, and I'm going to use this line of the houses, and I'm just going to place it, so that I have got a visual grounding because of that little piece here. So where that is, that line, it's carrying the line across onto these down here. So I've got some visual intake of a grounding so that I can then create the roadway. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. Now I'm going to use the tiniest amount of pin flare here, and the reason I'm doing that is because I want to be able to move this, and my adhesive Carnations Everyday is so strong that it won't give me that movement. But I've used literally a tiny dot of pin flare here, and I'm just using it for the movement's sake, because where I place that and push that down, I then want to get this little chap who is absolutely on the run, and I want to poke him behind, and he's going to peek out. So again, a tiny amount of this pin flare, not much. And he's going to be running on that roadway, and now we make total sense of grounding, because now we have a definite road. So because the dog is larger than the trees that sit behind it, what I'm doing is giving it a visual perspective point. because the dog's closer to the forefront and the dog's bigger, and so the houses and the trees at the back look further away, and therefore we created that road. And the really lovely thing about that technique is we establish it simply by putting the bush in front of it. That's it. Just because it allows us to have that separation and that point of difference. And that's a really powerful way of playing with this, because suddenly perspective makes sense and it doesn't matter, you know, it works. So it is just really easy to do and really easy to play. And again, we get to close those houses at the front, and we get to know that there's something behind because of the tree line. So now we're giving that peek on both ways. It's really sweet and I love it very, very much. So from there, I'm going to take in my hot air balloons, and I've stuck 3 together in these lines so that you're creating this beautiful shaping that's coming through. And I've got 2 clouds. Now I like the clouds on here as again, a visual point, and I quite like them on both sides. Now, I said to you yesterday, I don't like it when it's just there. The bus makes sense of it. So yesterday I was saying to you I wouldn't want the cloud hanging over, but this way I can make a flag out of it and it makes sense. Now I've got a bus line coming down, so I'm making sense of that line. It's not further in, and I can have it on the other side too. So I can create in that way, or I can build them together. I can have them over each other in that way, or I can start to work with them as an over and up at the top there, just to give it that lovely fluffy cloudy scene. So you get to work and play in those different ways, and each way you'll get a visual difference. And I really, really love these little clouds. Now I would normally shape these, and when we talk about the cut lines in Carnation, can you see these here? So let me explain if I can, if you're more than happy to give me a moment. Where that cut line is, you can see these here, okay? What I'm going to do here is take my ball tool. Those cut lines then become super important. Take a ball tool that's the appropriate size for the area that you're working on. Actually, that's probably a little big. So remember where I pulled that and we saw those cut lines coming through, these curvatures that sit just here? That's what I'm working on. So the paper's broken there. So instead of having to go from the outside and spiral, what I can do is take my ball tool and work along that curvature of that line. Same again down here. So what we start to do is build little sort of fluffy puffs in the clouds by using the ball tool strategically. And I'll just shape out these top curves as well. Just working through. And that now has these, it just gives it a little fluff and a puff. Can you see? Really sweet. And so again, just work with your ball tools, sculpt it out. So I'm going to put this, I can use pin flower on this because it's not affecting the paper below. So I'm just going to pop this cloud here. And then you can shape out the second one if you won't. I won't do it on obviously here, but you could shape out the second one below. But for demo purpose, I'm just going to stick it down because I do want to get to doing an easel with you with this card shape. So you've had as much demo time as I can possibly give you. And remember, we are back at 12 o'clock, so more demos then. And then I'll feel like you've had a working to go towards. These definitely, these just cry out for shaping, right? Because of that beautiful balloon shape. But I've stuck 3 together, so I've caused myself a little bit of a headache here. But taking my ball tool, I'm just going to work around my outside edge on this one, work around my outside edge on this one. You can't really see it, but there's tiny little give marks just at the top here. It allows it really easily to shape and sculpt. So I'm working around from that point. Now, what I'm going to do is use NYX shade lines here. The lines that are coming from the balloon, I've broken the fibre here. That's going to allow me to stretch the weave of the paper down here so I can work in the lines now. And so I can make a difference on every single line of the hot air balloon. So break your fibres at the top first and then follow that path round to allow you to get that little difference between the balloons. It just looks really beautiful when it's done. And it's a really easy technique. We're just stretching those fibres here. We're not breaking them. We're drawing it down. We're just stretching them out. Same down here. Just make sure you're gentle but firm. Gorgeous, gorgeous shaping. Look at that. Just incredibly pretty, right? I think it's really valuable to shape your vignettes. You don't have to. Of course you don't. Your cards will look amazing without shaping. It's Carnation. But there is great value in shaping them out. And the Carnation ball tools, make sure you've got a dense foam mat. Now I'm just going to place this here, and I'm placing them on an angle. So we're going up, up and away. Super cute, right? Now obviously you can fill in all of the extra elements. The reason I haven't is I am somebody who very much likes to work in clean spaces, and I like, if I've got, how do I explain it? If I've got a vignette that's really powerful like the bus, if I put anything else against it, I'm dwarfing it anyway because the bus is such a powerful vignette. And I think the bus deserves its own space because it's so beautiful. So if I can work and leave this point clear and this point, I'd be more inclined, if I was sending this as a card, to maybe attach a little piece of white card here and write my sentiment to my friend or to whoever, you know, put your name there so it's hidden. And I would be more inclined to do that and let the bus speak for itself, because that artwork's incredible. No matter what I put next to the bus, it's gonna dwarf a little bit anyway, so I'm happy to use that and then fill in that front space and allow the card to breathe a little bit. Keep the surprise going for the person who receives it, and then when it stands up, it's just so pretty. Look at that, that full scene that we're getting, the full, that gorgeous, gorgeous skyline. I mean, Nick and the team could not have made a more beautiful card shape. It really is stunning, isn't it? And something really, really unusual for us to work with, because normally we're working just with your mat and your layer and some beautiful filigree and different things like that. But to have this working independently without a card base is beautiful. But for me, I would want the support possibly by using the back two pieces. But man, is that beautiful. Carnation just do it, don't they? Every single time we get these crazy, awesome things. You're all talking. Hello, hello, hello. Sorry, I haven't been ignoring you. I go into my zone. So this collection is called the Wonderful World Collection. It is on Carnation Crafts website, which is www.carnationcrafts.co.uk. The number for it is 230701. There is a show price of $79.99, but using the code Charlie Charlie Whiskey Whiskey 10 CCWW10, all in capitals, is going to give you a 10% discount. We don't have a lot of stock left. I got to tell you, you guys knew what you were doing yesterday. You're not daft, you lot. You got in and you got it, which is awesome. Lots of you will receive it today. Free UK P&P on that. If you want to grab hold of the Skyline card shape that I am using and demoing mainly today, or mainly in this show, that is 230706. That's your Skyline card shape. Show price of $27.99. If you just buy that independently on its own, that's going to come in at $2.95 UK P&P, because it's not over the £50 mark. So I hope all of that makes sense. Don't forget to chuck in your perfect papers. They go beautifully with this collection. Really, really stunning. And you'll find those as well on the Carnation Crafts website under the code 230707. Wonderful World. Perfect papers. They are so pretty and they work in the most gorgeous way. If you want to add in the full bundle and you want to add in your Skyline card shape and you want to add in your perfect papers, there's a lot of words going on there. The total cost to you would be, can I read it, Miss Towns? Where is it? She's done it all for me. Which one is it?
£114.88.
£114.88. What
Divide it by 3 PayPal payments of...
Can you hear it? We need to mic her up. Divide it by 3 PayPal payments of, and then she's rubbed the writing off her blackboard and now she's trying to work out what it says.
There's 4 payments of £28.42.
4 payments of what? £28.42.
Yeah.
And that is on ClearPay, I believe. Yeah. Or you can do it in PayPal Pay in 3. She's working it out if you want a calculator because she's rubbed it off the board.
£48.29.
£48.29. And that would, if you order it today, it's going to be with you probably tomorrow, which is always lovely. Right, I'd like to make you an easel card using the Skyline card shape. If you're all already there, there you go. Hey up, Carol Hart. Shaping brings them to life. It really does. There's, you know, I know not everybody wants to sculpt out with cards, and I totally get that. It's one of my passions. I don't expect everybody else to do it. But the point is, those cut lines that are very specifically put into our dies from Carnation are there to allow us to do it. It's a choice that we make, but it changes the end visual. Now, Carnation's more than strong enough on its own without needing to be shaped, but I like to play with it, and I like to just take it that little bit further to give that lovely change. It's really, really nice. I'm just having a look at, I saw a question, hold on. Make sure I'm answering everything. Terry is asking, so do the buildings come with the Wonderful World collection? No, it's just a separate die. The Skyline card shape is a separate die. Carnation always bring out a card shape with the collection, which they've done, which is the gorgeous, the pull, the one we did yesterday, this one, which I love so much. So that is part of the main bundle. Look at that train. Doesn't get much better than that, guys. Isn't that gorgeous? Those colorings coming together. Get your perfect papers. They work so well. So that comes with the collection, Terry. But then your Skyline is an additional die if you want to get it. It just happens to work perfectly with this bundle. Right, let's work on an easel and see where we're going. Just making sure you're all okay on here. Wonderful papers too, they really are, aren't they? You're all right, Mary Cook. So it hasn't quite sold out, but we're not far off. What I really love is that the Skyline card shape is going at the same pace, which means you're adding in and knowing sort of what you're doing, which I love because it's incredibly beautiful for the Skyline. Right, let's work on an easel. If you have never made an easel before, you can be forgiven for thinking that they're incredibly complicated, because I spent about a year trying to avoid making one because I thought they were really hard, and they're so simple. I was so silly. So you need 3 card bases, basically. So the biggest die in the pack, and you'll just cut it 3 times. 350 GSM is my choice, you do you. So it's this die on the outside, we cut it 3 times. And then using the die next to it, I'm just using on the vignettes that you get so that I can create that background, and that's going to give me my colouring. Now, I have explained to you guys before that I always do that in advance when I'm doing an easel card on air, because I always forget to put it on, and then it causes me loads of headaches afterwards. So am I doing it to be organised? No. Am I doing it because I'm a ridiculous human? Yes. So when you're working with an easel, you've got to fold a score line here, and you need to have red liner tape on the back of that. Then all you do is score the card in half, like so, and you're going to put red liner on the front. So back, front, okay? And that's what it looks like. And that's your mechanism for your easel. Now, I know lots of you know this, but lots of you are brand new to card making too, and so it's just a way of showing it. You just need that mechanism that allows it to lift, okay? Really, really simple. So the first thing I'm going to do is take this one off, and I'm going to fold it backwards towards my body, and I'm going to pin down this bit with my little sausages, just like so. Make sure it's straight, and then I can commit to that stick. Once I've done that, it's done, it's ready, okay? So this one then folds this way, okay? Now all I'm going to need to assist me in this is a stopping mechanism here, and we'll come to that at the end of the card. So I've got these 2 lines of red liner tape here. I'm going to take them off, and to make sure that I try and get this stuck in the right way, I'm going to just get the easel card. I'm going to fold that back so it's not sitting on an angle, so it's completely flat. And I'm going to turn it upside down, and I'm going to line up my Skyline first. Once I know that that is all lined up, then I can release, I can commit to that stick, and it is where it is. And now I have got a really beautiful base for my card, for my easel. So it's really simple. It's such an easy thing, but man alive, do easels look gorgeous. Like, I love them so much.
You can easily do it.
Miss Taz, that was a terrible joke. You can easily do it. She's on form today. She's very excitable because we had breakfast. It was a good breakfast, Miss Taz,
Mm.
wasn't it? My tummy is very happy.
Like a food coma now.
Are you in a food coma? So then I'm going to line this up onto my glass mat, onto that line, so I know that I'm working straight. I'm going to create those tabs with my red liner tape so that I can still slide this around, get it into place. Mary Cook says she is punny. You got outwitted, Miss Taz.
No, we're both admiring in each other's.
Are you both
hilarity.
admiring each other's hilarity?
Yes.
Okay. Right, I'm just going to put this down. So I've got this. Push, pull. That takes my tabs away, and I can stick and know that I've roughly got it into the right place, which I think is a nice technique that allows me the confidence to build. This skyline is pretty incredible, right? Look at that. Dudes, you don't even really need to do much, does it? Isn't it gorgeous? I love the way it works and comes together. It's so nice. So there we go. I'm just going to take this and Mary says, my son is a journalist and we have pun contests. That's very funny.
I like that.
Savvy Crafter, what does it mean if someone says you are a pip? I don't know. I've never been called a pip. I've never heard of it. A pip. It's probably insulting, but I've never heard of it. A pip.
I don't know whether I should be Googling that on the work computer.
Miss Tiz Taz is Googling that on the works computer. Apologies to Carnation. It'll be on Urban Dictionary if it's there, I would have thought. Right, I'm going to put this here and just lay that out. Small amounts of wet glue. If I put on any more glue on that, I'm going to cause a wave on the paper. You'll see the glue behind it, and it's such a shame because it doesn't need to be there. So just try and use small amounts, but beautiful card shape, isn't it? Just stunning. That is so pretty. Let's go in with the elements. Now, we did something a little bit similar to this yesterday, but obviously we didn't make it into a, what am I saying? What's the words I'm using? We didn't make it into an easel. So I've got this, and I'm going to take these tabs off. Oh, and this. Have you found it, Miss Taz?
There's multiple different.
Oh, there's multiple.
But I think if she's been described as a pip, then it means an excellent or very attractive person.
An excellent or very attractive
One of a kind.
person, or one of a kind. That's what a pip says, apparently. Never heard of it. I know in the UK we sometimes say pip pip for saying goodbye. Pip pip cheerio. That's very old fashioned. I don't think we do it so much anymore.
I haven't heard anybody of my generation say that.
I'm not of your generation, sadly, Miss Taz. We got into the car this morning and I had some drink holders in my hand and my breakfast in the other hand. And Miss Taz opened her car door for me, took the drinks off me and my food off me, and I said, what are you doing? So she said, I'm helping you into the car. So I can get into the car.
You can open the door and get in with everything. I'm being kind. You need the help.
I do need the help. I do, Miss Taz. I do need the help. So I'm just going to place that there. Now, I'm going to build in to the next layer the same way that we did yesterday on those foam tapes. So we're raising up, and I'm going to use the tree line in the same way because visually I just think it's beautiful. But we can change it up by creating smaller lines. Now, if I place this down just on the front, like so, what I could do, I'm not going to, but what I could do is cut individual little trees on these and sort of tuck them. So you would have a tree on either side, which is super cute, right? You could just have those little trees standing. So all you need to do is cut on your pip lines and put your little tree so it stands at the side. Really nice idea. I'm going to put it high because I do like that difference between the buildings, but it's another idea for you. But my main purpose for this demo is I want to show you a little trick. So I'm going to put this here. Super cute. Right. I'm going to say that that is the front of my easel finished, and I'm happy with it. Don't need too much more. And the thing with easels, you can go as mad as you like or as subdued as you like. And the great thing about an easel, if I was to really decorate that up so it was, you know, huge amount of decoration on it, I can cool that then by having my base plate with less on it. So I'm going to dampen down the busyness of the card, so you can get away with more that way. Alternatively, you can make something that's very clean and simple, and you can have more going on the base plate of it to allow that. The main thing to remember if you've never made an easel before is your base, your stopper has to have really some kind of lift on it. Otherwise, because it's got to be stronger than the card base. If I've got something here and it's not got a lot of depth to it, the card base is just going to flick open. It's not going to stand. So I've got to have something that is literally a barrier to it opening. And so we work with our shapes and our things. Now, one of the great things that you can do with Carnation stuff is if you don't want to use like a foam tape on there that's visually can be seen, you can shape stuff out with a ball tool and use some pin flare, sit it in there and leave it to dry for 24 hours, and that will work as a solid stopper for you. Demo, I can't do that. Obviously, I've got to get these sort of done. So what I'm going to do is just take my easel and I'm going to open it up and just place that there so I can see where I'm working. Now, one of the things that comes with this set is some roadways, which are awesome. Look at that. Isn't that cool? So you've got these pieces that you can cut down. So now I've got a road. I've got a grounding, the best grounding device I could have if I want to use the car, if I want to use the bikes, any of those things. I've got the best that I can have. And there's also a grass line as well, which you can use, and you can cut the grass into sort of little hills with one of the dies that you get. There's also train tracks. So you've got all of these to work with. So what I'm going to do is place this here. Now, the first point when we're making an easel card is where do you want the stopper to be? How high do I want my card to sit? Because if I want to sit it up here, I need my stopper to be there. It's got to be where it is. If I want it to be more laid back and relaxed, I can have it there. So I think that's what I'll do, and I'll place my little roadway there, and then I'm going to bring it on a stopper for it. So just taking that off there, I remember I want it about 1 inch up. Take this off, this off, get it roughly central. Watch this be right on the wonk, about there. Now, little trick that I kind of came up with, and I'm hoping it's going to work now I've done this. I wanted the stopper on my car, and I didn't want to do the whole thing on foam tape. And I wanted to work out a way I could do it where the car, what I didn't want to do in order to make the car my stopper is bend the wheels, which would be the obvious thing we'd have to do, score the wheels so that half the wheel sits down. And I thought, well, those tabs that come with that main card shape, the Life in Motion card shape, to hold the things up that we were looking at on the boards, pretty good for an easel, right? So I've got them there, and what I've done is on the back of them, put a piece of foam tape on each, not to stick it down, but to use it as my stopper. So what I can do is bend those this way. That's going to work as my stopper, and I'm going to put some wet glue here to hold it in place. So now I can take this and I can put my car vroom, vroom, vroom in along that roadway. My foam tape sits behind, and my easel gets stopped by my foam tape. So when I turn that round to you guys so you can see the card, look at that, all disguised using those little tabs. Cute, right? Use your little tabs. Are you impressed with that, Miss Taz? My little brain sometimes does some things. It's all good. Right, we've got 10 minutes, so I'm going to chuck in a really quick last demo because I want you to give you as many demos as I can today. 230701 on the Carnation Crafts website, www.carnationcrafts.co.uk for the main bundle. Sorry, Taz. Best price £71.99 if you use the code CCWW10. That's all in capitals. Why are you laughing at?
I think you powered down then. You
Did
had
I
to have
zone
your-
out?
You were like,
Did I stop?
I have to step in. That's my time.
The problem with ADHD is sometimes your brain just shuts off and like there's just nothing, and I have to be very cautious to not let that happen when I'm on air, and I don't always control it, so I do apologise. Right, let's go. So we'll do another quick speedy demo. Let me just check so I know what I'm doing. Right, okay. I'm going to use the main card shape for Motion in Life, but we're using it in a different way, so I'm not making that full demo with it. And I'm going to bring in some florals from the Full of Love. Oh, it's just gorgeous, those florals. I love them. They're just big and beautiful and just gorgeous to work with. Right, card base. Do I know what size it is? No. Can I measure it against this? Yes, I can. So I have got 8 1/4 inches by 5 1/4. I always know when I've just used a full piece of A4 because it's always 8 1/4. And so that's a full piece of A4. That's exactly the size of it. So I've obviously just cut it down at 5 1/4 inches. And the likelihood is that'll be an offcut from a different card base that I've made. If I've made a 6x6 or something, that'll be the offcut from the other side of it. And you know, I'll have more than one of them. So I use those as my next card bases. I don't like wasting cardstock, and I think it just makes things a nice way. And also, I will say, as a challenge to you guys at home, here's a challenge to you all. Not that any of you will be interested, I would imagine. But one of the things that you can do is when you've got your offcuts, no matter the size, so long as you've got 2 of them, try and make a card from it. It's like a creative stretching exercise, because you're forcing yourself to work in a way that you would never normally work. And when we force ourselves to do that, we come up with different creative interpretations. And so it's something that I have forced myself to do for a long time so that I can find new boundaries to work in. And it's a really useful creative exercise just to keep you thinking in different ways, because you're working with a card size you would never normally go to. So I love doing it. Right, I'm going to keep my mats and layers on here. I'm going to be working in landscape, not portrait, but I can't put my mats and layers on. For some reason my brain won't do it. So I always have to put them on when I work in portrait and then turn it around. So look at those gorgeous, perfect. Isn't that just a pretty colour, Miss Taz?
Yeah.
I'm going to place this on here straight as I can without being able to look on the overhead. There. Okie doke. Miss Taz has just plugged herself in a personal fan. If I could turn the cameras around, I would. Just going to put this on here. So same again, we're always making these tabs, or I do, because it just makes everything easier when we put it together. So I'm going to place this here. Make sure we're roughly central. Push, pull. Right. I've got this now, obviously, and I'm going to be working in landscape, that card shape. Now, one of the things that's really interesting about the main card shape is, hang on, let me lean, sorry Taz, I'm ruining everything. See how here, where you've got your inner plate, where it gives you these, and that you can see the pit marks that get left where you've got the gaps. It obviously doesn't cut through those, and that allows you to push it through. Well, on the other side, you've got dies here that are nested. Okay, now that means I can make little apertures anytime I want in that gorgeous rounded shape. So I can make them bigger, I can make them smaller, and I could do layered apertures if I wanted to. So it's super useful to have. Now I'm going to take my foam tape off here, and I'm going to place in. Now, if I haven't put anything, I'm not taking those off, they're just for support. If I had been sensible, I would have measured everything out first, so we might have to do a bit of cutting. I'm going to place that in. Look at that colour. Isn't that so pretty, the way they come together? That beautiful blue with the white on top. White is one of my favourite things. I just think it makes so much difference. Now, we're going in here with the trees. If it's too big, I can cut it down. But I didn't stick down my side pieces of foam, so it will tuck behind. Need my grounding device. So I either need to make that lower so that I can just see the grass line, or I can raise it and put things in front of it so that I can have them higher. I'm happy with it being further down below because I like the white space above it. I like this piece. When we say white space, it just means space as opposed to the actual colour white, but we leave that clean area. Little bit of glue, tuck, tuck, and just place down just so I can see that grass line. And can't see on the overhead, so I'm having to do it on the monitor. Just there. I mean, just that, dude. That isn't that pretty. Those colours on those trees. Carnation artwork is so powerful. Really gorgeous. Now I'm going to bring in the car and I'm going to sit that in the front because I want that pop of colour. Look how beautiful that is. Just the scene going past. Just gorgeous. Little bit of glue on there. I've got my foam tape under here so I can sit the car on it. And because of that, I don't need to ground the car because this is my grounding. We don't know if it's floating or not because it's behind here. So we get to use that as a device and we just work in those ways. Now, I'm very quickly going to finish this with some florals, and I'm going to work fast because we're running out of time and we're back with you at 12. So I just quickly going to work here. Now, I'm going to bring in these and I'm going to create a corner. If I work long line like so, it's too big and it looks too oof. There's a problem. There's a real big visual problem with doing it that way. If I turn it, however, what I get is a beautiful framing. It's just pretty. Summer days. Just summer days. And you can see, can't you, how that balance changes and how it doesn't work. So I'm happy with it where it is. So thumb on, lift, add some adhesive. Don't need much. Just to a couple of pieces. I hope that one wouldn't have touched. Let's go on here and let it drop. Now, because I've now got it in place, I can lift and put some adhesive on the other side, but I know I kept it where I wanted it to be, so I can put some on these leaves. Now I'm going to leave the rest of the flowers flowing free. I like them flowing free. I like the idea that there might be a little bit of movement there, but look at the colours and how we're playing with those pinks and yellows and the greens. These are all colour wheel beautiful friends. They love each other very much on the colour wheel, and it's really pretty to work with. I'm going to add in those yellows. Just a little bit of colour, just a little bit. I'm not going too mad with the florals. I don't want to layer them too much because I like a cleaner look, but enough to say that I'm raising a bouquet, but I've got some work going through, okay? Remember, I'm going to need to cover my workings, and so the way I'm going to do that is to bring in this gorgeous piece. Now, what I don't want to do here, because when I'm working with florals and I'm doing something with a corner piece, obviously I like to have something that flows down. The problem being is I can't use that flowing down because it's too big, but I can bring a hint of it in. So if I take this and I've got it sitting where it is, what I can do is just bring in a hint that it's there. Just that little framing. Now I can work it and I can play with where I want it to be, so I can put it down there. You see how we start to frame and everything comes around. You don't need the whole lot. You can do it just by hinting. And so it's got that beautiful sense of it's there, but it's not in the way there. So then all I need to do here, because I want that to be free flowing, keep my thumb on it, raise this, and I'm just going to put glue on the leaves. That's going to secure it where I want it to be. Little bit on my stem, let go, and now I've got the shadow because I didn't glue the whole thing down. So I still keep the gorgeous visual. And then I'm going to take this. I'm not going to shape it out, guys, but if I was free with more time, I would. What I'm going to do is just pin flare it up. We're going pin flare-tastic. Lift it and raise it. You see how we get the shadows? That beautiful playway. Next layer on my decoupage. More pin flare this time. I'm going higher as my layers get higher. Raising. It's so pretty. I love decoupage. And then I'm going in with this. Okay, that's quite a whacking piece there. We're not messing, Taz. Gorgeous, right? And I'm going to leave it at that. I'm happy with that. I've got some extra florals if I need them. I don't want them. I like things when we keep it simple and keep it fresh. And that card can be achieved literally in 2 minutes by anybody. And I think anybody would be happy to receive it in the post. If you've got little bits of extra stuff on your paper like I have that you shouldn't have, that's an optional extra. You don't have to put the bits of dirt on down here. It's fine not to have those, but you can see how we create gorgeous, gorgeous, easy cards with this collection. If I can make 3 cards in an hour, then you absolutely can as well. Pretty, right? So everyone's saying there's still no artwork. I have a strong feeling they'll put the artwork on after the last show in order to give everybody a fair chance. So I've got a feeling that your vignettes will probably go live at 1 p.m. So after the last show. Taz and I are going to go and have a drink, cool down a little bit, and we will be back with you in an hour. And I'm going to do another hour of full demos as opposed to demoing that card shape. I know I did say yesterday that would be another, but I think it's more... I think there's more in it for you guys if we actually just demo the collection, and you can watch back yesterday's at 9 o'clock for that card shape. So I hope that's okay with you guys. I think you get more out of it that way. Have a lovely lunch, and I'll see you all in an hour, and have a cool drink. It's really hot. And you can get this collection on the Carnation Crafts website. I'm so good at being a presenter, like all of the professionalism. Have a lovely hour, and we'll see you then. Take care. Bye.